Hello everybody, Grandmaster VAR AKOBIAN here, and I'm here with my student Jonathan Martin, and now we're gonna take a look at the game from round number 6, and this is a game between FM Woodward against Akshat Chandra.
Awesome.
So let's take a look at this exciting game. In this game, white open up with d4. We have a queen pawn opening. Now knight f6 comes in. So now we have the idea here to play c4. He played, and now g6. Now let's take a look here. Now knight c3 comes in, bishop g7, e4. So once again here, Grandmaster Chandra is deciding to play his active opening. He wants to play the King's Indian defense. So now d6 is played. Now bishop e2, different approach this time. In the previous round, FM Krechetov played the move h3, but here we see white is implementing the bishop e2 idea. Now castle played bishop e3, developing the bishops. c6, h3. And now after h3, e5 played, and now the center is under attack, and here white have to make a decision here to take or to push. That's the question is. So here you don't want to allow the take here, because after take black can play rook e8 and put pressure on e4. So that's why white plays the move d5. Now knight a6 comes in. Black is aiming to put a knight in here. Now g4, a little bit ambitious, obviously. Knight f3 would have been perfectly fine as well here. And then if knight c5 comes in, you can also actually just put the knight on d2. This is very typical. Yeah. So this is another way to play, but white played very ambitiously with g4. Knight c5, f3. Defending everything. This looks a little bit misplaced, but still the massive center for white here. Now h4. And he's just ready to push with h5. Big center, and everything seems like protected. Now h5 played, attacking g4. I like this move because you don't wanna allow white to put a pawn on h5, because then it's just gonna be a lot of pressure. So he goes here, g5, attacking the knight. Now he goes knight h7.
Yeah, that's what I would have done as well.
Yeah, knight h3, developing the pieces. a4, and now queen d2. White is preparing to castle long. Takes, knight takes. In this position, taking with the c-pawn would have just guaranteed white a pretty nice advantage because of the space.
Yeah,
and I mean, there's probably f6 is coming up, but you can just simply take. And rook takes, and just go. Even knight b5. Takes, knight g5, bishop g5. So there should be an advantage for white. So, but here he decided to take with the knight. The drawback of taking with the knight here, Jonathan, because knight can go on e6, and then he can go to d4, he can go to f4. So that's why it's not so clear. So you're giving some squares to the opponent, such as bishop e6. Previously, he could never put anything on e6 because you had that big strong pawn on d5. And now, knight long castle, still preferable for white. Takes, cd. Queen b6, now putting some pressure, maybe eyeballing for some knight b3 ideas. So white just goes king b1, very calmly. Rook fb8. Positionally, white is just simply dominating the pair of the bishops, open c file, the light squares. So everything is just dictating that white has a very large advantage here. Rook c1 played, knight f8, knight f2, knight goes on d7, and simply bring the knight on d3. There's knight is pinned, it's very hard to move anything. Bishop f8, rook hd1, bringing every piece into the game, consolidating the position. Now queen goes there, and now exchange. And the problem in this position is, now when this happens, now you open up the position with f4. So I think maybe it wasn't the best decision to take the knight here, because I think you have a pretty serious advantage if you play the move bishop b5 first. And then you can even play queen b4 and rook c4 and try to put pressure on a4 as well here. So I would have preferred that, because again, I love my bishops. I don't want to give them away, you know? So that's why I think this was a...
Can I ask a question?
Of course, yes.
So when do you decide, since you love your bishops so much, when it's time for them to go?
I would have prepared it a little bit more here. I would have tried to put the bishop in here, maybe, you know, if I take, I kind of want to be able to go d6, d7. But when he took, like, see, he couldn't even play this, because then b5 comes in. And then he goes c4, and he shuts down this bishop.
Oh,
And
wow.
then, you know, rook
Then
comes
move
on
over.
d8 and then can pile up and you want to pick up this pawn perhaps.
Yeah, and you can't even.
And
get the
bishop
rook with-
c5 is good too. Bishop c5, bishop d4, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Shutting down the position. So that's a big difference here. So that's why if you have a bishop on b5, that piece is cemented. It cannot be moved from there. Then you can go d6 and d7.
Yeah.
So that would be the big difference. So after the capture occurred, f4. Why did black is fighting back now? a3, b3, took. Now e5. Now white's getting some control of the center. d6, c4, bishop f3. And now the problem is just gonna pick up the material here. So I'm not sure if c4 was that good because it's losing the exchange. Perhaps rook b6 would have been a better try. But here, bishop f3, take on a8, queen takes f4, and there's just not enough. It's just the extra exchange.
It's
and
aesthetic.
here, you could just take back here. It's not necessary to play the fancy rook a7. You can, but I would have just simply take back here. I don't want to allow any counterplay. Like take, rook f1. I guess he calculated that this is just winning. So f5. Perhaps bishop g7 would have offered a little bit better chances, but it's still losing after rook e7. Queen b3. Takes check. Takes. And just rook b7. You can push b4, but take. But again, there is no need to have this pawn here. He could have just simply taken back on b3. It's
So
just
being fancy,
unnecessary, a bit unnecessary finesse, you know?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying in the other video. It's like sometimes there are losses because of unnecessary finesse.
Yeah, like here, you just take back. You
Yeah.
just take back, check. You just put the king
Just be
over.
practical.
Yeah, but it didn't ruin the position. I
No.
think he just calculated it well. Now it takes back, and simply there's just no threats here. G6 is on pre, and queen b3 check, and that's a beautiful mate. Look at that aesthetic mate. Rook h7 check,
That's
forcing the take.
stunning.
Queen f7 check. He has to go here, check. That's a beautiful finish.
That's
a
crazy.
beautiful finish by Andy Woodward.
That's
so
awesome.
this was a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Fantastic game, and really well played by Andy Woodward against a strong grandmaster Akshay Chandra.
Wow.
And we saw a nice domination here on space. Okay.
That was beautiful.
Hope you guys enjoyed this game, and we'll be back with more videos for you. See you soon.